Today I have 7 work from home mom routines for you to help supercharge efficiency in your work from home routine, as well as calm the chaos and carve out a little bit of time for yourself so that you can recharge and reset and be more efficient in your week. Stick around to the end because I saved the most effective tip that I found for last. The first tip that I have for you is actually one I learned from a therapist I had a few years ago. She was also a large family mom and she actually worked outside the home. But this tip is perfect. It's to have a to-do now list and a to-do later list. So in my planner, I have one page that has the things that can kind of be done anytime throughout the week. And then on the other page, right across from it, I have a list of things that need to be done on the specific day. And I'll put a time with it if it has to be done at a specific time. This really helps to streamline the priorities. The second tip that I have for you is one that I actually learned from a hairdresser I used to have. She worked from home and she never answered her phone. She always answered texts though. We have a tendency to want to answer the phone every single time it rings. There are some work from home jobs where you would have to do that. However, if it's not work related, you can be fielding all communications to text. This does 2 things. The first one is it helps protect your time. It helps you to keep from getting swept up into long conversations during a workday and losing an hour and then not being able to get your rhythm back. The second thing that it does is if somebody is asking something like a question or a favor or something, it gives you some time to think about when you really can fit their request in and if you can fit their request in. Sometimes it's hard for friends and family members to understand that just because you're home doesn't mean you have time for XYZ. They don't seem to understand sometimes that when you're working from home, it means you're working. And a lot of times they'll think, oh, I can just drop in because she's home. So fielding communications through text gives you time to respond and either say, yeah, no, I can't today, I'm sorry. And then you can give them an alternative day for whatever it is that they are wanting to either come see you or have you do. The third tip I have is to have days of the week and parts of the day for certain activities. Sometimes it's a little too easy to be unstructured with our time since we are home, but I find that having parts of the day for certain activities and days of the week for certain activities really helps. The 2 biggest activities that we like to tackle on certain days of the week are a kitchen day and a cleaning day. On cleaning day, we like to go through the house as a team. If your children aren't old enough to help yet, it's just going to be you though. If they are old enough to help, I have a whole video that is probably published at this time. I will link to it below, and it is cleaning tips for when you have kids. I actually have 2 videos. I will link to both of them. The kitchen day is the other day that we like to really set aside some time for on a weekday or a weekend. Doesn't have to be the same day every week. Might not work out for it to be the same day every week. You might have to just go at this as needed. The day before the kitchen day, I like to just jot down a few meal plan ideas and get the food out of the freezer if I am going to need some things thought out. On the actual kitchen day, a couple things I like to do are clean out the fridge and make a list of the foods that are about to expire that need to be eaten. And then I like to cook up the meats or prepare them and maybe a few grains in bulk. And this way we can just kind of eat off of that food over the week. And if I cook up 3 or 4 chickens instead of just 1 for one meal and cook it a little bit simply, it means I can use that chicken for a variety of different things throughout the week. Same goes with any meat. Beans are another thing to make up in bulk and have in the fridge. And here's a little bonus tip. When it comes to meals, it's kind of nice to have a meal that you have pretty regularly, or a few meals actually. So like Taco Tuesday, hamburgers on Friday, pizza on Saturday, something like that, where you don't have to think too much about it. And that way your meal routine for those things stays simple. I won't talk too much about this 4th tip because they will be in those 2 other videos that I just told you about. But if your kids are old enough, chores. Child specialists are pretty much unanimous on this. They like to see that kids have some age-appropriate chores. They say that kids that don't have them do not grow up to be very active members of society. Checklists are great for older kids. If you have younger kids, like kids under 13, I would say, I find that Chore cards work really well. These also work really well for ADHD kids. And if you would like to know more about Chore cards, I actually have some in my store on my website. You can check those out. I'll link to them below. My next 2 tips are to have a planner, and the other one is to have a home management binder. Here's the thing. As a work from home mom, you are also a homekeeper or a homemaker. This is where the disconnect happens for a lot of us. And I think part of the reason that happens is because it's difficult. Being a homemaker can be a vortex and a whole job within itself. So can being a work from home mom. So what you need is a planner that will accommodate both things. If you have other things going, you're going to need separate planners for that too, or a planner that also accommodates those things. So as a work from home mom, you need a more customized planner than most people are going to need. In my case, I am a homeschool mom, which takes up huge portions of my day. We also have a homestead, which takes up a good chunk of the day. I work from home. There's also the home to manage. I'm probably preaching to the choir. I'm sure you all have similar situations and get it. A good planner can help you analyze how long you need to give each activity. It's really important that you know how much time each one of the things you have going is going to take or does take of your day so that you can lay things out in a way that they will work and so that things will flow. A planner can help you analyze that and make notes. I have a planner that I sell in my shop where it's got a section for all kinds of little notes and things that you can customize for all of the things you have going on. It's got a section I call the brain dump section, where every time you have those moments where you're just overwhelmed and there's so many things running through your mind that need to be done and you're not sure where to write them, this is where you can just dump them all. Then you can kind of spread them throughout the weeks to come by order of importance. This is my planner. I want to talk to you about undated planners because I know a lot of people say that they don't know how to utilize a planner. This is where undated planners, I feel like, come into play. Throughout my journey, there will be weeks when I'm better about planning and weeks when I'm not. And I just really can't stand it when there's a whole section of the planner, or sometimes like a whole month, where I didn't really get to sit down and do very much goal setting or planning. Sometimes I'm able to get a lot done just by, going by the seat of my pants. But generally speaking, I get a lot more done when I have some set goals that have been written down. And always, I feel better and more organized when I have written down and gotten everything out of my head that is bogging me down or that is just overwhelming my brain. This is a planner that I worked with a designer to create. It's actually got a section called a brain dump section where you can just get everything out of your head that keeps flying through your mind, everything that you're constantly going, oh, I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that. I've got a spot where you can just write it, like a running list. You can take that paper out and you can put it on the next month if you didn't get it all done that previous month. My planner has all kinds of customizable little sections that you can use however you want. You do have to write the dates in. And the reason that I did that is so that you wouldn't have weeks and weeks where there's a date written in and you forgot to do any planning, or you didn't have time to do planning, or you just simply didn't plan for that week. You can just reuse those pages. They don't go bad, they don't expire like a dated planner does. If you're having trouble getting organized and getting your whole family on the same page, I highly suggest getting just a home management binder. This is a little A5 size, I think we call it. You can do a big one, I prefer that, but these are really pretty. They're not unattractive to have laying around the house, and they were affordable, very affordable. I will link to them below. But what I like to do is I like to have a daily cleaning list here. I have an upstairs cleaning and a downstairs cleaning because we have an upstairs and a downstairs, but basically, essentially, the point is, make a list of all of the house cleaning activities that need to be done on whatever basis you like to do them, whether it's weekly or monthly. Have the running checklist in here in a binder where the whole family can go and get it. So once I started this, we started getting the upper and the lower floors of our home cleaned in a couple hours. Before, it used to take half the day because people would be like, well, I don't really know what to do. You would think after the family as a whole group cleaning the house for like 6 years together, eventually they would get it, but they don't. So Okay, so that's where this comes into play. Once I did this and I wrote down all the things that need to be done on the top floor, all the things that need to be done on the bottom floor, kids, everybody just tackles this. They come get it, they pick whatever they want to do from the list, and they go do it, and we get done in like 2 hours, and then they have the rest of the weekend. We started doing this on Saturday, so then they have the rest of the weekend or the day for free time and fun time. This helps me to feel just a whole lot less frazzled and more like the things that need to be done are done, and they were done with way less chaos and a lot more peace. The very last tip, and perhaps the most important tip, is and was a revelation when I learned it. I was appalled at the difference this tip makes. It's to create a rest and reset time. So for me, that is Sunday mornings. I sit down on Sunday mornings with my coffee, my planners. I watch a couple of my favorite YouTubers. I've selected ones that give me inspiration for the week ahead and kind of like jog my memory for certain meals that I could make. I also sit with some of my favorite cookbooks and books. Most of my planning is done throughout the week as I'm up moving around and seeing things that need to be done. But having this little time carved out to sit down and rest and recharge makes such a difference. With the second half of Sunday, I like to use that as family time. I like to watch movies with the kids. We snack. This is the time to really enjoy the fruits of all of this labor. In the Bible, it talks about the Sabbath day being made for man, and this is the day that we are to rest. Some of you like to do this on Saturday, some on Sunday. I am very aware and have been aware since childhood that there are quite ferocious arguments about which day the Sabbath should be held on. And there have been some people that have tried to write books and leave them in the comments. I don't approve those comments. Don't even finish reading them. I don't think that's the point. I think the point is that every seventh day we are supposed to sit down and rest and just enjoy what God has done for us and worship Him and recharge our batteries, so to speak. And when I carve out time to do this, when I'm able to, the weeks always go so much better. I have more clarity. I have more energy. So with that, I'm going to leave you with some Bible verses about resting. Matthew 11:28-30. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Psalms 127:2. It is vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil, for he gives to his beloved even in his sleep. Hebrews 4:9-10. So then, there remains a Sabbath rest for the people of God. For whoever has entered God's rest has also rested from his works, as God did from his. Being a work-from-home mom is one of the hardest jobs I've ever had in my life, and I've had a few jobs that were not easy at all, including jobs working with the sick and the dying. But working towards being a Proverbs 31 woman, as well as a keeper at home, has been the most rewarding job that I've had. I really believe that in this day and time, it is a true blessing to be able to be a work-from-home mom, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to get to stay home with my kids and to be able to raise them as the Titus 2 keeper at home is commanded to do, and still have something going on to the side as the Proverbs 31 woman. I really hope that this video has been a blessing and helped to inspire and encourage and problem solve any issues you might be having in your work from home mom journey. Let me know if you guys have any questions and leave a comment. Let me know some of your favorite work from home mom routine tips that you have to share with me and others.